Michael, what is today's audio?
This time it's about network amplifiers. It is a comparison of Linkplay's WiiM Amp Pro and BLUESOUND's POWERNODE.
You have compared many network amplifiers in the past, but you have not compared the WiiM Amp Pro and the POWERNODE. Wouldn't you like to hear a comparison of network amplifiers, too, Master?
Yes, I want to hear it.
Which was better, the WiiM Amp Pro or the POWERNODE?
To sum it up, it's a bit subtle. I would have been fine with either one.
What is the price of the two units?
The WiiM Amp Pro is $379 and the POWERNODE is $949, quite a price difference.
What equipment do you use?
I used Amazon Music as the sound source. KEF are 3 meta speakers, and the WiiM Amp Pro and POWERNODE network amplifiers for comparison.
What are the specs of the two units?
I made a spec table. Rated output is 60 watts at 8 ohms for the WiiM Amp Pro and 80 watts for the POWERNODE, with the POWERNODE being higher. The signal-to-noise ratio of the WiiM Amp Pro is 120 dB and that of the POWERNODE is 100 dB, with the WiiM Amp Pro being much higher. THD plus N is 0.0005% for the WiiM Amp Pro and 0.008% for the POWERNODE, with the WiiM Amp Pro also superior. The WiiM Amp Pro is equipped with an ESS ES9038Q2M DAC, while the POWERNODE is equipped with a TI-PCM 5242 DAC, with the WiiM Amp Pro having the higher performance DAC. Only the POWERNODE is equipped with a headphone jack. The WiiM Amp Pro has one optical digital input, while the POWERNODE has 2. The WiiM Amp Pro has one analog input, and the POWERNODE has 2.
The POWERNODE has more inputs.
It is important to note that the POWERNODE does not have 2 each for optical and analog. The terminals are shared between optical and analog, so only one of them can be connected. Also, they are 3.5mm mini terminals, not the standard optical rectangular or RCA terminals. The WiiM Amp Pro is simple because of its general RCA and optical rectangular terminals.
I see.
Subwoofer output, USB-A port, HDMI, etc. are the same on both units. Only the WiiM Amp Pro comes with a remote control.
It's nice to have a remote control.
The POWERNODE also has a remote control, but it is sold separately. Both units are half audio size. The POWERNODE is slightly larger when placed side by side. The WiiM Amp Pro weighs 2.08 kilograms, while the POWERNODE weighs 1.78 kilograms.
Even though the POWERNODE is more expensive, the WiiM Amp Pro has better specs.
That's right. The POWERNODE is twice the price of the WiiM Amp Pro, but its specs are mediocre. On the other hand, the specs of the WiiM Amp Pro are too high for the price. The only good thing about the POWERNODE as far as equipment is concerned is the headphone jack.
The sound quality didn't change much, did it?
Yes, I expected POWERNODE to sound better at twice the price.
How easy is the app to use?
Both the WiiM Home app for the WiiM Amp Pro and the BlueOS app for the POWERNODE are easy to use. If there is a difference, I am a little concerned that WiiM Home has many updates.
Does Michael recommend WiiM Amp Pro more?
That's the difference. I have been experimenting with network amplifiers in my subsystem, and I am using POWERNODE instead of WiiM Amp Pro.
What does that mean?
I feel that POWERNODE has a quality of sound that is not expressed in the specs. It's not that it's better than the WiiM Amp Pro, but if I had to choose between the two, I would choose the POWERNODE.
You mean the sound quality that is not represented by the specs?
Yes, that's right. It is often said in the audio world that specs are not everything. For example, there are cases in which the sound actually sounds good, even if the numerical performance, frequency response, signal-to-noise ratio, THD, etc. are inferior.
Can't we evaluate audio equipment based on specs alone?
Let me tell you why good or bad audio sound is not based on numerical values. 1. Human hearing is subjective. Factors such as sound texture, airiness, and sound spaciousness, which cannot be measured by specifications, are very subjective to human comfort. 2. Sound tuning. How the sound is tuned may affect the sound quality more than the specifications. For example, tube amplifiers are often considered to have a pleasant sound despite their high level of distortion. 3. Equipment compatibility and environment. The combination of speakers, amplifiers, and playback equipment, as well as the room's acoustics, can greatly change the impression of the sound. Specifications alone do not give an overall good sound. 4. Sound with color. The original fidelity of CDs and high-resolution audio is not the only way to get a good sound, but certain coloring added by the equipment is sometimes preferred. The popularity of vintage audio is one example. In this way, superior numbers do not always equal good sound for me.
If you ask me, that's true. Even if it is a high-end machine, it doesn't necessarily mean that the specs are superior, does it?
Yes, that's true. In this case, I am talking about network amplifiers, but it is hard to say that the specs of speakers represent the characteristics of how they sound. I think a spec sheet is necessary to show performance to some extent because it is difficult to make a purchase if there is no numerical value. Besides, the human ear is not as accurate or even as a measuring device. The human ear is most sensitive in the mid and high frequencies around 2 kHz to 5 kHz. Therefore, a sound with a slight emphasis on these frequencies may be perceived as clear and crisp. This might be considered rather not flat in frequency response in terms of specifications. There is also the possibility that the sound is simply louder. This is a phenomenon that occurs when auditioning at an audio store, but sometimes the louder the sound is, the greater the illusion that the sound sounds better. Also, sound distortion is not necessarily a bad thing. Generally speaking, the less THD, total harmonic distortion, the better, but this does not generally mean better sound quality. Tube amplifiers have more distortion than transistor amplifiers, but that distortion is musical distortion that is considered pleasant to the human ear. As a result, the sound is perceived as warm and rich. It also depends on the character of the transformer and circuit. The choice of capacitors and output transformers that intentionally give the sound a habitual character creates a sound with flavor and an appeal that cannot be captured by the measurement specifications. In addition, there is the influence of brand and design. The belief that this equipment should be good, placebo effect, influences how the sound is perceived. If it is an amp from a well-established brand, people are positive that the sound is good even before they hear it. Even though we normally want to listen only to the sound, the appearance of the audio equipment is also a major factor in judging the sound quality. When I used the PA200 power amplifier from SMCell before, I felt that it was too small and unreliable. But when I listened to the sound of the PA200, it was high power, high definition, and at an incredible level considering its price and size. After all, there are many aspects of audio that we judge not only by sound, but also by price, appearance, and other non-oral factors. In this way, I think the comparison between the WiiM Amp Pro and the POWERNODE is the basis for my feeling that the POWERNODE is better than the WiiM Amp Pro, which has inferior specifications. I would have no problem with the WiiM Amp Pro if I only considered the price, though.
So you are saying that audio specs are the basis for judgment, but they are also very subjective.
Yes, so listening to the sound of the equipment yourself is the best way to make sense of it.
Yes, that's right. It is difficult to make an objective evaluation because audio evaluation is subjective. Master, today's comparison between WiiM Amp Pro and POWERNODE was very informative, wasn't it?
Yes, I learned.